I may have waited too late to do this, so admittedly, this AMA might be better have waited to do later, and I'm probably gonna do another one tomorrow after I get out of work, earlier in the evening. That way, people have time to actually hop in and respond. I know a lot of my audience are in the UK, so for them it's like 3, 4 in the morning right now. Yeah, it's a nutty time in the morning right now. I'm assuming. Actually, it's probably closer to 1 a.m. I think I might be overshooting it, but regardless, yeah, quick AMA, quick AMA time. Put on some background music, something to serenade you wonderful people, while I chat. But yeah, as much as this is an AMA, I'm gonna actually use this one as also kind of like a VOD, real quick to anybody who might watch it. So yeah, just kind of checking in with you guys. Yeah, things have been busy on my end. Things have been kind of hectic. I do gotta say I got sick the last couple of days. I'm only just getting over. I think it's a cold because I got over it too quickly for it to have been the flu, and definitely got over it too quick for it to have been my second round with COVID. So, yeah, things got a little hectic the last few days. I had to force myself to go to work because I didn't want to get fired because I didn't feel well. So, yeah. Oh, Ball, damn, you're still awake. You're one of the people I was talking about in the UK. Well, hey, Ball. I hope you're feeling better. I'm feeling much better. I'm not out of the woods completely. I still got a bit of a rough throat. And I'm still a tad bit congested, but I'm pretty much out of the worst of the woods. I think I won't be 100%, but soon. Obsidian Archives, welcome to the stream. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you here before, have I? If I have, I apologize. Obsidian, did you go by another name? Well, regardless, if you're new, welcome for the first time, and if you're not, sup? Who me? Well, I was talking about Ball, because, I know Ball's one of my UK crowds, so he's over across the pond. I don't know if you are. If you are, then you also kind of are involved in that. Hey, Hybridite Shade, what's up, man? Horace Brittle, welcome. Tits or ass? Ooh, that's a hard one. I'll probably say ass. I don't get me wrong, it's a hard one. For me, like, the boobs are great. They're amazing. They really are amazing, but I don't know, something about a great ass just always outdoes the ass for me. Always outdoes the tits for me. So that's me. What about you? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. How you doing? Welcome. It's always good to get new people. Hope I'm giving a good impression. Hey, it isn't Ask Me Anything, so I guess I'll answer for the most part. But yeah. Kibbs told me about you and thought I'd check you out. Oh, really? When did Kibbs talk about me? It's kind of heartwarming. Was it recently, or was this a while back? Regardless, how you doing? I guess I ought to send Kibbs a thank you note. I don't know. It's been a hot minute. I try and catch his streams when I can, but I'm always busy. So I was about to say he always streams when I'm busy, but I'm always busy. So to be honest, that's more of the common situation. I'm an ass and leg man. Understandable. Why did you choose to go with the Viking hairstyle? Well, to be honest, it was because, and the thing is, I know I'm not really sticking with it right now. I just haven't had the opportunity to get a haircut. That comes with being busy, I try and keep the sides shaved, but if I miss like 2 days, it grows so thick that it comes really hard to shave with a razor. But generally speaking, when I was in high school, a friend of mine, this is kind of, going to go dark, so I'll zip right through it. But a friend of mine passed away from cancer, and I shaved my head while she was going through that. And when my hair started to grow back after she passed away, to kind of remember her by, I've always kept a portion of my head shaved as kind of a way to remember that time, and kind of, I almost said an homage, kind of like something sentimental I do on behalf of her memory. So Yeah, I usually keep a portion of my head shaved. I used to have only one side of my head shaved and just grew all my hair on this side, like that goth kind of look, but it looked really bad on me, so I was like, okay, what's another hairstyle I think that would look good with me with part of my head shaved? And I noticed a hairstyle that had the entirety of this spot shaved, and I was like, okay, that works, and just this one part. And I thought it looked really cool. I know I was already naturally growing a beard at the time, so I was like, nice look. So it's a combination of that, and I just thought I just like the style. I definitely got to get the cutters though. I need to shave this. I did go bald a couple times too. That was forever ago, but well, a few minutes ago. Really? Damn. On his most recent stream. Hold on, let me bookmark that. Let me bookmark that. I gotta figure out what he said about me. How much shade did this man just throw? Nah, I'm sure it was nice. Kibbs is a great guy. Yeah, I wish I could. Again, I wish I could catch his streams more often, but I think I failed to do so. Of course, he's not right on my bookmarks. Why? I know I had him there. Hold on. Bunch. What do you think of V Rising, Asmo? I think it's amazing. I think it is absolutely amazing. For me, like I said this before, for me, I like Valheim, I do, and I love what it's provided for a lot of people for like time investment. I know like a guy in my server named Tang, he's in love, and I mean in love with that game and the crafting aspect and the base building aspect. He really loves it, so I like it for that. I like it for how amazing it is of an indie game. It's simplistic in a sense, but it's an amazing indie game for like how polished it came out, how finished it felt, and how lovingly it was put together. Like a lot of people really fell in love with it, and I think it's a really cool game. However, I never played more than I want to say 3 or 4 hours of it, because for me, I didn't really fall in love with the theme, which I know is strange because, you know, the Viking haircut and all that, but the reason I didn't fall in love with it was because I never felt like it was ever present. Like thank you for subscribing, Obsidian Archives. Thank you, brother. Thank you. I appreciate the support. But yeah, the reason I never really like fell in love with it is like I have kind of V Rising is V Rising. You constantly feel like a vampire. The sunlight's always a constant concern. The gothic feel of your castle as you're crafting and gathering. The feeding on blood from animals to survive and getting abilities from that. Like, the theme is really reinforced by the gameplay in that. The YouTube delay is nuts. Yes, it is a bit nuts. I think it's like almost a minute now. It used to be like 30 seconds, but I think it up to a minute. But yeah, in V Rising, that theme is really ever present with being a vampire. Whereas in Valheim, you feel like a Viking when the crow shows up and says stuff to you, and you feel like it when you start base building because of how the base building aspects are designed. That does look Viking. Every other part of it just feels like another survival game to me. Like, I don't feel like it's constantly reinforcing its Viking theme, which is not a problem. Like, it does it in the right ways, and it's not like there's it's kind of an unfair comparison because with vampires, there is a constant reminder of the vampiric element. Again, the sunlight, the blood-sucking, there's a constant need for that element to be present. Whereas Vikings, it's only going to be in certain elements, like the crafting of boats, like some of the armor, and like the base building. It's only going to be in those parts. It's not going to be like, when you're hacking a tree, you're not going to feel like a Viking. When you're fishing, you're not going to feel like you're a Viking. It's only going to be in certain aspects of the game, so that's not the game's fault. That's more just my own, I guess, unfair subconscious expectations. So, as much as I love Valheim, I never fell in love with it the same way I kind of have V Rising. Anything? Really? Yeah, throw it out there, big man. How am I feeling? I'm feeling much better, like I said. Was feeling a lot worse the other day. Oh, God. I gotta say, Wednesday was probably my worst day. I was on my ass. I had a really stuffy nose, and I could barely breathe. I was like... like, I hate colds. I think, like most guys, I don't handle getting sick very well. I think women handle it better than us, but That's, obviously that's a gross generalization, but when I, like, look at my female family members, they get sick, and they're, like, on their butt for, like, a day, but then immediately they're, like, back to it. With us guys, we get sick less, I've seen, at least, again, this is my environment, right? But when we get sick, it's like, we get sick. We're either not sick and totally good, or we're sick and we're in bed for a week. We're like, there's no in between with guys. With girls, it's like, we're sick. We get sick often, but it's like a day and we get over it. And sometimes you're just lightly sick enough that you can go to work and do other stuff, so it doesn't matter. So I don't know. Like girls seem to burn through their sicknesses faster than us. Again, entirely based on my subjective view and like my environment. Was on one of his yesterday. Okay. What do you think? Okay. If you could live in another country, which country would you pick? I really wouldn't want to, but if you had to like twist my arm about it, I don't know. Norway? I don't know. What's the Scandinavian country that allows its citizens to have guns? Whatever country allows me to arm myself, I'll take that one. To be honest, probably like the UK, maybe Ireland. Tomahawk, Zero of Chaos, welcome guys, welcome. I love that it's an early access indie game with ultra-wide monitor support. When a game like Elden Ring doesn't, come on, from please, it's 2022. Nah, I get you. How do you make the editing process fun? That's the thing. It's not really going to be. Like, it goes back and forth. It depends on what you're editing. If you're editing something new, I found that whenever I try something different, that's fun every time when I'm editing. Like, if I'm trying a new transition effect, that's always fun to experiment with. When when I'm trying out a new way to, like, animate a character in the scene more, with like, a special effect as opposed to having to do, like, the keyframe animation, I think that's always kind of fun. But when it comes to like just the average editing, like if I'm editing a video, the same type of video I've edited 1,000 times, it's not fun. It is a work. It is something you have to do, because what is fun is putting up the video and getting criticism on it for people to watch it and for people to enjoy that video. Like that's the fun part, is the end product. The actual making of the end product, it's kind of like with anything else. Like, making art is not fun. The end result of art is fun. That's kind of like the philosophy with video editing. It's the same idea. Though, again, there's exceptions across the board. There are some people who love the process of making an art piece and don't really care about, like, the end result. Or they do, but it's more about, like, the journey than it is the destination. But generally speaking, when it comes from my perspective, for editing, I just want to get it done. I want it to look good. I want it to entertain, and I want people to enjoy it. So that's what's fun for me. The only time editing is fun is when I'm trying something new. So I would say if you want to make editing fun, experiment. Constantly try and learn new things, try new things out, and kind of enjoy the novelty of that while you have it. UK based. Okay. So time to speak from the heart. Suppose, yeah. I got asked earlier, ass or tits, and I said ass, so, you know. You can pretty much ask anything right now. So for you is the end result not the... So for you it is the end result, not the journey. Yeah, exactly. I used to love... Silent12, welcome to the stream. How you doing? I used to love video editing. Now when I work video editing professionally, I hate it. Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's once it becomes a job, that's another element to it. Not the same thing. That's not what I meant to say. It's kind of that's another element that is also absolutely true. Once it becomes a job, once it becomes something you have to do, it becomes something you hate. Like, what's fun about hobbies and what's fun about, like, side activities like gaming and stuff, like the reason we like just look at MMORPGs, for example. objectively speaking, people spend thousands of hours doing work. Like you will go out and you, despite the fact that you're not doing the physical labor, but you are spending the time doing it. You go out and you mine like ore, and then you come back and you sell it on a marketplace for gold, or you even use that ore to make armor and stuff, so you can sell that on a marketplace for gold or whatever. Like, these are all activities that take thousands and thousands of hours, and they're extremely repetitive. In the real world, we would call that a job. But because the context of which we're doing it in is we're voluntarily performing this action. You are choosing to do this. So because you have that choice, you don't see or feel it to be a job. You don't feel it or see it to be a chore. But the moment something is, like, you have to do this, like, to get paid, you have to do this to survive, you have to do this to keep food on the table. The moment you have to do something, and the moment you have to do it, it becomes something you loathe to do. It becomes a work. It becomes something you don't like. And that's true with video editing, that's true with designing models, that's true with 3D printing, painting minis, whatever the case may be. Whatever you work on for fun will eventually possibly transfer into something you don't like doing if it becomes employment. Which is kind of sad, because it means, technically speaking, you can never fully achieve being happy in employment, theoretically. But I do think you can find a level of a type of job that, yes, may not be the most fun to do once it's a job, but it's still fun to a degree, so it's better than any other job, and it may not pay the best. That's like the dream job, right? Anyway, that's this. What sort of culture besides Vikings interests you the most, and why? What sort of culture besides Vikings interests me the most, and why? It's kind of a few. I would have to say the Scots. I'd say, specifically the Celts. The Celtish. The Celts, yeah. As for why, part of it's cultural heritage. Like, I'm Irish and Scottish, which both come from, like, the Celts. So, the Celtish. So, a part of it's kind of like a bias history. Like, I want to know a little bit about my heritage and where I come from, and the culture that, like, birthed those that would eventually birth me and my family. So, yeah, probably the Celts. But if I remove my, like, any kind of bias, like, entirely removed from relation to me, I would have to say probably either Mongolian culture or Japanese. Japanese, because I am fascinated with the shogunate era. I'm fascinated with the samurai, the dichotomy between the samurai and the yari culture, the peasantry, and also their evolution from swords and bows to then picking up gunpowder from, I think it was the Spanish. Yeah, I think it was Spanish traders that sold them that stuff for equal valuables. You know, like, there's a lot of that's kind of fascinating. With Mongolians, you got a very tribal raider culture, which has a lot of specific, like, gods and stuff, like they fear especially before Genghis Khan, they really feared, like, lightning and stuff. Like there's plenty of stuff there that is fascinating. But yeah, I'd say that's the best way I know how to answer that. Let me catch back up. What's your proudest thing you have accomplished so far? The proudest thing I have accomplished. Proudest thing that I have accomplished. That's a hard one, because there's plenty of things I'm proud of. Some I'm proud of for more personal reasons. Other I'm more proud of for community reasons, like, you know, my group. I'd say the thing I'm most proud of is being honest. I would say it's a weird thing, and it's more general, but it's the safest, like, answer I can give. I know it's not specific. If you want a more specific answer, I can try. But if we're going general answer to that question, I'm proud of being honest, like on stream, on my videos, in personal conversations. I'm generally proud of being an honest person. And though probably being a more artificial, kind of acted up person, especially on camera and on stream and stuff, I could probably get more views. And definitely get more subs, you know, if I just played the character that everybody wants to see. I'd say, generally speaking, I'm just proud of being honest. Like, I like just being me. As much as, again, like, something like this has a level of performative element that should always be there, and playing characters is fun, I do like being honest, just on, especially on streaming. Like, I have a lot of affection for that element of it. That's why streaming kind of comes naturally to me to a degree, because I like being honest. Yeah, again, that's a very general, very broad answer, but if you want to be more specific, I can try with that. You listen to podcasts? Nice. I think I saw that earlier. Sorry, I might have read that a second time. Do you like having a girlfriend, or are you a virgin? Oh, and are you a virgin? I was about to say or. Do you like having a girlfriend, and are you a virgin? I do like having a girlfriend or a partner or a significant other. Because it's good to have someone to have your back. You know, it's good to have someone you can talk to, and you can chat with, and can keep up with. But by that same vein, the stress of having like a girlfriend and stuff is like obviously if you're in a relationship, that takes time away from everything else, because you have to have a level of commitment into the relationship. I mean, obviously. So there is give and take. There's sacrifice with having a relationship, and the biggest sacrifice is time. So there's some financial, but the biggest one is time, because you need to invest some of that into the other person, or you're not going to really formulate a bond. As for being a virgin, that's kind of a complicated answer, because no, but yes. Because yes, I have done sexual acts with a significant other. I have not done all the sexual acts with another person. So if we're going broad, like if we're just going like have you done anything sexual, then yes. But if we're going, have I gone like the full length? No. Are we doing well? I'm doing okay for the most part. Hope you're doing well as well, Tomahawk. EVE Online is a job. I've heard it is a chore. I've heard it is an immense chore. I've never played the game though. I ought to. Well, actually no. I think I did download it one time and try it for a bit, but I don't think I actually like did anything substantial. I don't know. I guess I'd have to check my Steam page. Like I don't know. Like I know I've heard of the game. I don't think I've ever tried to download it or play it though. When it was only a hobby, I wanted to do it. Okay. Yeah, it's always having that end date. Favorite actor, actress, movie. That's kind of 3 questions. Are you asking me what is my favorite movie with my favorite actor and my favorite actress, or is it who's my favorite actor, who's my favorite actress, and what's my favorite movie? Because I'm gonna answer it like that, but if your intention was the other one, I'm gonna answer this one. Favorite actor? I'd say my favorite actor. It's kind of a hard one, because I kind of have 2 categories with this. I have a favorite actor who actually acts, and then I have a favorite actor who just kind of plays themselves, but they're so charismatic on screen you don't really care. Like, I got a couple of those. Favorite actor for acting. I gotta say... that's a hard one. It's kind of... Probably Robin Williams, to be honest. Robin Williams brought so much energy to his performances, and though there have been some performances I would say didn't go amazing, there are some roles I feel like it restricted his energy on camera, so that resulted in him not having as much of a presence and as much of a memorable moment on screen. But generally speaking, when I think of his best performances, though he may not objectively have the absolute best or pinnacle performance of all time, I'm looking more at his whole career. I'm looking at more of his entire filmography. If I look at everything he has done, with the exception of his stand-up career, because technically that's not film, I'd say he has done such a range, and though there is elements of himself that he always carries into each performance, they never take away from you thinking of this character as something separate. You do always see Robin Williams, but you also see the character he's playing. That's my opinion. So Yeah, I'd say Robin Williams. Just like the man's emotional and energy range is incredible. And he's played serious characters. He's played reserved characters. He's played energetic characters, and all of them he plays with such commitment to the role that I gotta give him whole credit. Favorite actress? That's harder for me because I'm thinking. It's hard. Ah. This one I have kind of a stupider. Not stupider. I won't call it stupid. I'll say this one let me double check I got the right name, by the way. Okay. Yeah, I do have the right name. Lucy Lawless. I love Lucy Lawless. Entirely because of her role as Xena. I fell in love with that. Both her and that. Yeah, she is beautiful and all that. Yeah, blah blah. But I fell in love with her performance so completely in Xena, and it was such a memorable show for me as a kid, for two obvious reasons. But I love. But aside from that physical part of it, her actual performance as the character Xena, she always felt like she played the character as the character's elements were always supposed to be there. She played it perfectly, in my opinion. And I appreciate that show so much. And again, I enjoyed it so much as a kid, and it had so many good memories for me. Though I just made it with the actor category. I know I looked at the whole filmography, but I'm kind of going the opposite route with the actress, because I don't know, Lucy Lawless for me just hit it out of the park. If you have to go with filmography, I might have to say Halle Berry. Halle Berry has done some amazing, awesome roles, and I even love her in arguably her worst role ever, which was in Catwoman. I even liked her in that, though again for petty reasons. So I don't know. That's me. It depends. If we're going for like one shot, definitely Lucy Lawless. All of filmography, all of one's filmography, probably Halle Berry. Oh yeah, favorite movie. Green Mile. That one makes me sad every time. Actually, I'll break this into two categories. Favorite movie for being like a dramatic, emotional journey. Green Mile, all the way. Like that movie had me in tears. The book had me in tears, and I read the book before I watched the movie, and the fucking movie got to me just as easily. So. Green Mile for like emotional payoff. For pure enjoyment, Demolition Man. Demolition Man is one of the movies I can watch twice in a row, not get tired, not want to go to the bathroom, and enjoy it all the way through. Love that movie. It's not even a guilty pleasure. I'm not guilty at all. Excuse me. Speaking of MMOs, you ever heard of Phantasy Star? Is that on Phantasy Star Online too? I've heard of it, yeah. Been my off MMO. Oh, okay. That's cool. Am I weird for watching Space Marine motivational YouTube videos? Are you weird for that? No. I've done it. Though I know that doesn't cure the weirdness category, but I'm just saying, I've done it too, so. I think plenty of people watch stuff that just motivates them and they can't explain why. So, like, for me, I just listen to some music, and that just immediately, I'm like, yeah. I feel motivated. I feel ready to take on the world. I just listen to Crazy Frog. Oh, God. I agree with what you said. Even though my job is video editing and I hate video editing now, I still love my job because the work environment is friendly and work days are dynamic. Hey, that's good. What genre of video games makes you question why do people enjoy this? Mobile games? Mobile games 100% always makes... If you're talking about actual game type, but I'd say genre, mobile games. But if you mean more like action adventure, RPG, you know, not initially, but now battle royales. Like initially, battle royales, I totally got it, but it's a novelty genre. I want to say it had its moment in the limelight and it died, in my opinion. And now people are still falling for it as a niche. And my biggest irritation is people call it a game in and of itself. I really don't want to call it that because for me, it's a game mode. Like Warzone being added onto Modern Warfare, the new Modern Warfare Call of Duty made sense because you had the other options. You could play all the other multiplayer modes. You could play the story campaign, which man was kind of meh, but you had that option. And Warzone was another mode on top of that you could play. That's how Battle Royale should be, in my opinion. It should be an additional multiplayer mode. It should not be the end-all, be-all of a game. Because I'm sorry, but I don't see it as its own game type. Because there's nothing dynamic to it. Like, it's the same thing over and over and over again. Literally. And I don't know how it doesn't get old for people. And I still don't know how Fortnite has held the crown for so long. Like, that just blows my brain. But that would be the only one if we're going by that type. Cyberpunk or steampunk? Also sci-fi or future utopia? Sorry for two questions. No. It's an AMA. Ask as many as you want. I'd say cyberpunk for me. I like that a lot more than steampunk. Steampunk is cool. I like it a lot. I like the Victorian costumes and stuff. That they look very stylish. But for me, cyberpunk, like I like the technology, I like the pseudoscience, and I like the sci-fi element. I love technology. I love building technology myself. So for me, seeing all these fun, imaginative, like cybernetic augmentations, and you know, like I love that aesthetic. And plus, also with like the gang banging, you know, like pop, like rap kind of vibe with some of the street gangs fighting with fucking like rocket launchers in their arms and shit. I don't know, something about it feel sorry. Something feels a lot more dynamic with cyberpunk than steampunk. Though steampunk can also be incredibly imaginative and inventive. I always like cyberpunk aesthetic way more. So that's pretty clear cut for me. Sci-fi or future utopia, they can kind of be the same thing. That's not really an and or question, but if you mean like general sci-fi versus future utopia, which again, future utopia is often sci-fi, so that's kind of a weirder second question. But I would say, if I think I understand that question correctly, I'd say sci-fi. Yeah. I don't like any utopias, to be honest. Like, I don't like utopia storytelling. I like dystopian. Like, dystopian can be really, really cool, creative, inventive, and have some really cool ideas. But, I don't know. Utopian, like true utopian, where everything's perfect. No, I hate storytelling like that. Because it's just, it's completely unrealistic. Like, I know I like Star Wars and stuff like that, which is also completely unrealistic to a degree. But there's something about that's more believable than a perfected society that has no problems. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just... To be human is to err, and for humanity to be involved in utopia is for utopia to be flawed. So, you know, something's far more unrealistic about that than any space wizards ever could be. What the dog doing? Both my dogs are in the living room chilling right now by a fan because it's been a bit of a hot day. It's like 80 right now. We've had a really hot day. But, yeah, they're... Doo-Doo especially. Juno is... she's a big, like, fluffy dog. So, she gets heated very quickly. So, she's probably right next to the fan, like, blow that hair into me. I am burning. Yeah, there's this warrior tier video called Become the Beast, and it gets me amped every time. But my aunt walked in on me watching it, and she looked really concerned. Well, what do you do when you're watching it? That's a that's a better question than is it weird if I... No, it's not weird if you watch a motivational video of any variation. But what are you doing that made her go, something's just not right with that boy. Something's just not right with him. Diesel punk and spirit of both. I don't know what that looks like, to be honest. I think I do, but I need an image. I need an image because steampunk I immediately know what that looks like, and I immediately know what cyberpunk looks like. But diesel punk, I need a picture. I don't hear that as often. And the card was full. I hope it's not too humid over there. It is very. We live right next to the ocean, so it's actually very humid. But thank you for wishing it not to be humid. I wish it wasn't either. Hey, Telcree, how you doing? So, Asmogan, is there a specific part of Warglaive Gothic do you look forward releasing to people? All of it? The thing is, when you're this involved with every element of a project, it's hard to specify which one you're most eager for everyone to get their hands on. For me, I guess the books might be a little bit more, because with the miniatures, I just hope people like the designs, and I hope they can paint them creatively. So, and I hope they enjoy them. But with books, there's a lot more to, criticize, and a lot more, writing on it. Because the miniatures, it's either they don't like them or they do. They either like the design or they don't. They either can paint them or they can't. It's very straightforward, and there's, it's more of it's an off and on switch. They either like it or they don't. There might be varying levels of but in some level they'll either like it or they just won't. And I gotta make corrections based on what they absolutely do not like. So that's, with the game rules, kind of the same idea. They either like the initial version of the game or they don't. But with the books, I don't know, because there's so much more emotional investment for me as I write the characters and as I build the world, it's a lot more stressful for me to the idea of releasing it. It's okay, when I let this out, oh boy. I'm excited on the part of, okay, I really put a lot of work in this, put a lot of passion into it. I hope they fucking love it, and I hope they love the world building. I hope they love the characters, and I hope they understand the grimdark vibe I'm going for. But again, there's that element of, what if they really don't like it? What if I'm not as good of a writer as I think I am, There's always that self-doubt goblin in the back of your head that's kind of feeding those worrisome thoughts. So, I'd say that one's kind of the answer to that question, because it's what I'm both nervous about and excited about. Good question. I was probably... Expunge the heathen? Okay, so you were quoting it. That's probably why. Yeah, that was probably the reason she popped her head in and was like, oh my god. He's worshipping Satan. Get the belt. I don't think parents do that anymore, though. It's more 40s, 50s in aesthetic. Okay? Diesel Punk was somewhat like 40K or the Brotherhood of Steel, I would say. Alright, I could say I probably like that more than, yeah. Iron Harvest. Okay, that makes it pretty easy to... Yeah, I'd say Diesel Punk is pretty badass then. Yeah, I definitely like that more than Steampunk. I don't know... That it would be more of a debate if I like that more than Cyberpunk, but I definitely think I'd like a Diesel Punk more than Steampunk. That's an easy win. Why does it look like a messy blacksmith? It's not too far off from a messy blacksmith's forge. I do need to clean up my office because I've been so busy working on the FF animation and work and coming home and trying not to fall asleep while I begin work again. I've kind of neglected keeping this joint clean, so my table is a complete mess. This is empty, but I was earlier doing some miniature painting to unwind because, I've been sick and I just kind of wanted to do something relaxing. So, yeah. And the rest of it is just miniature painting. I'm hoping to move some of my miniature painting stuff downstairs to the basement because I really don't have a reason to keep it in the room other than, just ease of access to when I want to paint. But to be honest, this room is not... I don't have a big room, so kind of confined. So moving some stuff to the basement for other hobby time is probably a better thing to do. So yeah, it is a bit of a messy area at the back. May I participate? If you mean the Discord, yeah, sure. Let me open up the Discord so I see it when you post it. Make sure I open it up. I don't know where you're gonna share it. I'll just look in general chat, I guess. Also art deco. Would smithing be something you would like to do? I've done smithing, technically speaking. Not like full traditional, actual proper blacksmithing, but some of the same elements are like I live on a farm, so we've had to smith. We have had to smith some of our own farm tools. Like we did smith. Like I smithed this is gonna sound funny, but I smithed a hoe, a garden hoe. But I smithed the hoe, so I have done a level of smithing. Just not, again, like full, like, anvil forge shit. We used an old rusty barrel where we poked a hole in it and to gauge so we could like pump in like air for heat, and then we filled it with a bunch of coal to heat up some metal so we could shape it. And yeah, it was a very redneck forge. It was very backwoods redneck forge, but it worked. We have a working hoe. Bioshock could be considered dieselpunk too. I always thought that was supposed to be steampunk. What got you into Gothic? Do you mean grimdark, or do you what do you mean say? Or do you mean like what got me into making Warglaive Gothic? Smithing a hoe sounds like a way to say bad parenting. I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I would say you're very correct. I might actually use that now as a metaphor, but yeah. When you hear Gothic, you can only think of the game series. Fair. Makes me sad. Why, was it canceled? Oh, I don't know. I guess I don't know as much about that as I might have thought. The name dieselpunk is a derivative of the science fiction subgenre cyberpunk 5 and represents the what's 5 for? Represents the time period from World War I until the 1950s. Gotcha. The style, I guess. The style. Okay. So yeah, so grimdark. So what got me into grim or Gothic style? What got me into that? I can't say I really can specify. I've always liked old like horror films and like old horror, like Hammer horror and stuff like that, and they've always had some level of Gothic imagery in them. That's kind of like the earliest version of that I could think of. I don't know. I'm a fan of history, though I'm not as much of a nut about. I'm not as much of a history nut as some of the people on my Discord, but I love history. I love researching history from time to time, and the Balkans have some interesting history, and so does places like Transylvania, so does Wallachia, Targovishta, and obviously Vlad the Impaler, the Turkish, the vampiric stuff and Gothic imagery have always kind of gone hand in hand. And again, back to entertainment wise, I liked gargoyles as a kid. There's a million and one things I could point to and say, okay, this is where I potentially first got my knack for loving Gothic imagery or horror imagery. So I could be here all day. There's a lot I could reference as like the source, but I would say generally it's just my general upbringing. There was plenty of stuff that I remember Gothic imagery being there. And ever since, I still have a love for the style or the aesthetic. Fun but janky. Okay. Oh, it's from Wikipedia. Oh, okay, so it's one of those, like this source number 5. Okay. Fushta. The Balkans. Hey, hello from the Balkans. Nice. Yes, the Balkans. When World War Three breaks out, who will they be fighting? Themselves. Sorry. You ever played Bloodborne? Yes, I love Bloodborne. I'm not going to talk too much about Dark Souls or Souls-like games. I kind of vowed not to really bring them up much on the channel anymore. And I kind of want to stick by that. The Gothic Victorian from Software. So, yeah, Bloodborne's my favorite of the Souls game, though. I will say that. Bloodborne's still my favorite. I love Bible-accurate demons and angels. I like variations. You know, I do like the Bible-accurate demons and angels, but I also think I really enjoy the different adaptations and imaginative ways people have reimagined both of them. Like, I like it when people take a mythological pre-established thing and they give a take on it. I also like it when they do that respectfully, where they're like, okay, we're trying to connect this back to its source, but we're also trying to give it a new view or a new aesthetic. And I think that's cool, and I think that's appropriate. What I don't like is when someone takes something that existed and then they completely butcher it, and then as an excuse for butchering it, they say they adapted it. Or they said, oh, well, this is my version of this. Well, okay, well, if you made no effort to still have a level of it remain in its origins, or at the very least call back to its origins with respect, then you didn't really do that. Like a part of adapting something is staying faithful to its original concept. So, as long as the original concept is respected, and it's just like something aesthetical that they go for, or it's just like subtle other ways they kind of reimagine or reinterpret their origin, I think that's fine. So, I have enjoyed different adaptations of angels and demons. I don't like how anime does it. Like, anime has had some interesting things that they've called demons and called angels, and they're really not they're not even remotely either. But I don't know. Anime is one of those things where you kind of let it go because they're like, the rest of it's so fun, you don't really care. Yeah, this isn't a demon. Yeah, that isn't an angel, but who the fuck cares? There's a guy with a dragon armor attached to him. He's been taken in by a redheaded chick with giant boobs. You know, who cares? Who cares if this is accurate at all? I don't know. Skyrim with or without mods? If with mods, any specifics you like? Yes to both. Like, I enjoy native Skyrim quite a bit. I don't need mods to enjoy a playthrough of Skyrim, but it can be enhanced with mods. Like, sometimes you want to play through and you just want to go nuts. So, you know, you download the mod, to kind of throw into what specific mods I like. I like the mod, I can't remember the name of it, but I like the mod where you turn all dragons into Thomas the Train Engine. I don't know, something about that just makes me laugh my ass off, and I don't mind dying to the fucking dragon. It's just like, thank you, God. This is something I did not know I needed and wanted, but I do. Yeah, and it's Beautiful Bodies or something like that. It's something like that. That's also another mod I like for the Fallout games and for Skyrim. Take old biddies, you know. Oh god, I hope Jenny doesn't watch this. I don't think I can look at her again. If she does watch it, I hope she laughs, because I've been asked some pervy questions, and I did say it. It's an Ask Me Anything. I'm answering them. There's a level of honesty maybe perhaps they should not have. Oh well. By the way, in tabletop RPGs, what would you consider your favorite monsters based on their lore and appearance? The only tabletop RPG I am very confident I'm familiar with is Dungeons and Dragons. I'm familiar and comfortable with Pathfinder, and there's like one other tabletop game I know, and even then I'm not like super familiar with it, so I can't really approach it with any level of confidence. So it's really just down to D&D. And with D&D, Which monster were... Driders? I think Driders are awesome. I hate spiders with a burning passion. I'm frightened of spiders. Was there something about a spider without the pincers and the head? Like that the evil... Like, I don't know. Maybe like all my fear is like zeroed in onto the fucking head of a spider. You take that away and you put like a body, a human body connected to it. It's suddenly not terrifying to me. It's just cool. Like, it's just badass at that point. So, I don't know, Driders are really fucking cool. I think red dragons look awesome. I know they're the basic bitch dragon, but red dragons are great. So are gold. So are black dragons. Blue dragons. Green. I don't know, dragons. There's no way to make a dragon look bad, in my opinion. Well, no. I take that away. I've seen someone draw a terrible dragon. So, I take that back. There is a way to make a dragon look bad. Driders, dragons. Kobolds are kind of cool. Dragonborn. I don't know. I to be honest, there's like several species, fantasy monsters and stuff like that. I think are just fucking badass. So, Mind Flayer. What's more metal than a fucking Mind Flayer? Okay, that shit. For lore, I'd probably say... For lore, I'd say dragons. Because in D&D, the dragon lore is kind of simplistic, but at the same time, it's very charming. I would say, like it's basically like each dragon color type is like a mood ring, right? Like white dragons are super arrogant and insular and stuff like that, and red dragons are super aggressive and hostile. And, yeah, they're literally like fucking like mood. They're like fucking mood. Each one's colored by like a mood swing. You can never play vanilla Skyrim again? Really? I don't know. I can easily turn off the mods and play the base game again. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. You ever tried the Better Vampires mod? Made my vampire playthrough in Skyrim super fun, along with the Apocalypse magic and Ordinator perks overhaul. One of my favorite mage experiences. I have not tried that. I will make a mental note to give it a shot. I would have to reinstall Skyrim, though. I'm a dragon person for sure, I guess. Hey, Kaiju. How you doing, brother? What do you mean mind flayers are the most metal? Liches are so much more metal. I mean, we could sit here all day and say, like, oh, this monster's a little bit more metal. But I don't know. Mind flayers, I think, are fucking metal. I could see that on a metal cover, is what I'm saying. Like, I could totally see a metal band, like, rocking out on top of a mind flayer's fucking head. And it looking weird. I could see a band calling themselves the Mind Flayers, okay? Liches are fucking metal as fuck as well. No, I'm not debating that. But I think Mind Flayers as a monster are fucking... I guess a Lich is a monster. But you know what I'm saying. Aboleth are far more metal. Oh, here we go. Everyone's got a fucking opinion. I got an old man back. Hold on, let me go get a glass of water. I'll be right back. I thirst. Water. Sweet water. Have I watched any anime? If yes, which one? How long do you want to be here? I've watched many anime. I have watched many anime. I grew up watching the kind of the standard anime most kids watched in my era. I watched Bakugan Battle Brawlers. I watched Digimon. I watched Pokemon. I watched Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know if this counts. Was that an anime? I'm not gonna list it because I don't think it counts. But yeah, I watched most of those growing up. I watched Dragon Ball Z. I watched Hunter x Hunter. I watched Sekirei. Look that up. If you're a guy, look that up, but you might want to delete your history. Let's see. One Piece, Bleach, no standard anime. I've watched, let's see. It's a long list. Dance of the Vampire Bund. I watched that. Good watch. Elfen Lied. Watch that. Man, we could be here all fucking day. Dr. Stone, if we're going to a more recent example, Rising the Shield Hero, Attack on Titan, though I kind of skipped out after Season 2. I kind of lost interest for me. Everybody else loved it. I didn't, Tokyo Ghoul, watched Season 1, gave up after that, thought the show was a little edgy for me. SAO, all of SAO, except for by Elysiation, I was like, I'm burned out on this shit. I can't even enjoy the memes anymore. Monster Girl Doctor or whatever, Doctor or Monster Girls, whatever that show is, that when that came out, Peter Grill, that was a shit anime, but it was fucking hilarious, cause it was shit, mainly. I watched a guy get attacked sexually by women every episode. Let's see. Testament of a New Sister Devil. I started watching My Hero Academia as a reaction thing on my old channel, but kind of stopped, and I don't think I picked up the show since. So, I'm not a little bit of My Hero Academia. Fuck. Yeah, I could be here all day listing off every anime I've ever watched. It's a very expansive list. Spy Family is what I'm watching right now, eagerly awaiting every episode. Monster Musume. I almost said grew up. No, I have literally a massive manga collection of Monster Musume. I was collecting that before the show came out. Skeleton Knight, which I was also collecting before the anime came out, and now that the anime's out, I'm having a blast watching it come to life from the manga. Yeah, I could be here all day. I could be here all fucking day. Berserk, yeah, Berserk. You big weeb? Yeah, I mean, technically. I'm a major fan. I don't know. Anime is... I stand by it. Anime is some of the best entertainment, especially nowadays with Western entertainment getting more and more politicized. No. Anime is not afraid to show both controversial shit and, like, dark shit. And stuff that's just pure fan service, too. I know some people are like, ugh, fan service. It's the point of having fans. You service them. You give them good entertainment. Skip the Attack on Titan after season 2. Blasphemy. It lost me. Like, for me, the Titans are, like, they creep me out on a weird level. So, like, part of it was just, I got sick and tired of that shit. So, yeah. I don't know. That's me. That's me, okay? Any new movies I like? I haven't seen Northman yet, so maybe that one. I know a lot of my friends have seemed to like it, so I might like that. But outside of that I'm aware of that have come out, no, not really. Everything else, everything I can think of that's come out over the last like 10 years has kind of sucked. Oh, I take that back. Not 10 years, 5 years. That's 5 years it sucked. You ever find it awkward to be called a great warrior hero as a mage? Like playing a black mage in FF14 is the warrior of light, or a mage in Skyrim as dragonborn compared to melee classes. Do you ever find that weird? No, because the thing is, warrior it's a class, but I think it's used more in the sense of you are a defender, or you are a guardian, or you are a fighter for the sake of this thing, or for the sake of light, for the sake of good, for the sake of the land, defeat dragons, whatever it is. It's more warrior in that sense than it is you are the class of a warrior. You know, you are a melee combatant. I don't think that's what it's referencing. It's definitely more of the general use of warrior. It's like you're the fighter for the sake. So I kind of understand that's the catch-all it's supposed to be. So I've never found it weird. Because I think it would actually sound weird if they said you are the mage of light. It's like, oh, okay. Don't get me wrong, that wouldn't be incorrect, but I don't know, it would come off strange. It doesn't. That one does feel specific, because warrior can be specific to a class as a melee combatant, but it can also mean just a fighter or defender or guardian on behalf of this thing. So, you know, a warrior of good, a warrior of light. Whereas mage, it's specifically referencing someone who practices the arcane magical arts, right? So it'd be weird to use that as a ad noun, or sorry, an ad noun, to describe an individual defending, fighting, or guarding something. So for me, it only makes sense in that regard. How much of Vinland Saga have you read, Wash? Let me look that up, because I need to double check. That's what I'm thinking of. Vinland Saga. I have not seen that. Why not? You caught me with one I haven't seen. Good on you. It looks Viking. Is it anime Vikings? If so, I need to watch it like yesterday. This is the show for you? Well, I appreciate the recommendation. I've caught up on most of the anime I'm watching this season. Kind of what I meant as the title of being a great champion. It's always bugged me being some guy who just flings spells compared to some brawny tank, save for Dragon's Dogma, where I cast tornadoes. I don't know. I guess if it bothers you, it does. For me, it's never even been on my never even been on my radar. That could just be me. I could be by myself in my little corner of just, you know, I kind of understand it's the catch-all. Scary stories you experience, like something you cannot explain, paranormal, or just scary in general. I got a few. It's a good one. When I was about 14, we went out late at night because we had a fox on our property, and we wanted to chase it off. But we also wanted to kill it because it was a vixen, and it was during their mating season, and we knew she'd come right back to kill a chicken. So better to try and take her out. And I chased her, and I kind of went over a ridge, so I nearly fell. But thankfully, it was the fall was kind of I want to say, it wasn't like a 90-degree shot down. It was more like 70 degrees. So there was some kind of incline to dirt that I could catch myself on. And after I made it to the bottom of that like little gully, I heard a noise, which kind of bothered me, and it sounded kind of chilling. Like, it wasn't like the standard sounds of the forest that sound human, but you can write them off as an animal, like screaming or yelling. What I heard was like a loud like thud. And it wasn't me. It wasn't my landing. It was after I had landed on the ground. So I thought, oh, maybe something fell after me. So I looked around, thought it might be the fox itself that had fallen. And when I had gone around a tree, I saw a figure. And this was late at night. So, you know, it was... The light I had was the moonlight. It was literally just it was a full moon night. And there was this... I thought it was like a guy. But it was really fucking tall. But in slouched over, cloaked. And I thought it was a trick of the light. Like, I was like, okay, am I looking at a rock right now or something? And, you know, I had my gun with me. And I walked out from around the tree, kind of confidently, because again, when you have a gun in your hand, you kind of feel like you defend it a little bit. But I kind of, like, tried to, I was like, hey, you there? And it shifted, and I heard a loud thud again. Like a large, hefty foot had hit the ground. And what I remember happening next was... It was really chilling. Because there was a response. And it was just it was just a question back of what? Like, you know, what do you want? But it was done in this raspy, deep voice. I don't even think I can mimic it. It was just really chilling. Like it sounded like somebody whose lungs were just giving out as they were speaking. And I didn't see the person's face. Like, he didn't turn fully. It's just like his broad shoulder... I'm saying he. It was a deep voice, I'm assuming. But he just kind of... You know, he just shifted. And he said, what, in that chilling voice. And something about that just freaked me out. Like, all confidence that I had in my body a second ago just seeped out of me. And I felt like my lungs had frozen. Like I felt cold. I felt like I was about to die. Like, have you ever felt so sick and cold? Like, maybe out on a winter's night, and you feel like you're about to die, like, if you take in too deep of a breath. That was me. And I didn't say anything else. I didn't talk anything else. I just turned and booked it. And I ran so fucking hard up that 70-degree turn. I felt like whatever the fucking thing was going to chase me. And I just ran. I just fucking ran and ran and ran. And I never heard the thuds of its movement behind me. I don't think the thing, if chased me or followed me in any way. I made it all the way back to the house with my lungs almost giving out because I was just frightened. And my family, I told them what I saw, and they were just like, it had to have been some kind of, you know, daydream or something. There's no way. But both my folks were like, okay, maybe to whatever he's saying, they derived from what I was saying that maybe somebody was on the property that shouldn't be. So both my dad and my mom went out with the shotguns and went out, and I went with them. I took them to the spot, and the figure was gone. The figure was gone. There were, however, hoof prints on the ground where it had been. So my dad wrote it off as, you saw a moose. Because these are big, like, hoof tracks. You saw a moose. A moose can't speak. Certainly not in a deep, raspy voice. And last I checked, a moose is quadrupedal, not bipedal. So, for me, I'm like, bullshit. But what am I going to tell my folks? No, that's not what I saw. I saw a giant hulking monster, possibly. I don't know what I saw. So we went back to the house, and you know, I stayed up all night because I couldn't fall asleep, and I went to school and lived my life normally. But that's a paranormal experience I've had. I don't know if it was paranormal. It could have been a homeless dude that was just really big and tall, and I don't know, had smoked too many packs that day. But there weren't I swear, there were hoof prints. There were not footprints there. So I don't know. That was freaky. It was a freaky experience. So that's definitely one I can't explain. Like, I have no clue how I could. I have no clue what was going on. How do I feel about anime set in wartime and military style? The one that first came to mind when reading that comment is Tanya, the Saga of Tanya the Evil. Fucking love it. It depends on how it's done, obviously, but most of them I think can be really fucking good, and they can have engaging stories. I mean, it's like there's a reason any war story, even non-anime ones, like if you look at Hacksaw Ridge, you look at was it 1917 or something like that. You look at any of the other like World War movies, like Saving Private Ryan, for example. There's a reason those movies do so well, and they have such compelling drama, emotion, and tension. Wartime is probably full of the best and most horrific and sad stories you can tell. Wartime stories have a lot, like they literally cover every genre. There's so much drama, there's tension, there's intrigue and mystery, there's action. It feels like every genre. So like a war film can kind of fit everything. Like look at Inglourious Bastards. Inglourious Bastards has the full thing. It's got action, it's got banter, it's got comedy. It's also got tension between you got like the Sherlock Holmes-esque like Nazi investigator dude. Like that movie's a great example of how wartime films can have everything, and that all at the same time and work. Hey, Disillusioned Jork, how you doing? Hi there, how's things? Pretty good. I'm getting over a cold or a flu. If it was a flu, it's the lightest flu I've ever had. If it's a cold, pretty standard cold. Still got a bit of a cough. How are you? Akashic Records of Bastard Magic Instructor. Name aside, I loved it, and not a 10 out of 10, but I recommend it. Okay, that's cool. You're like a skinwalker? I mean, maybe. I don't know what it was. Sounds like an Evil Dead Deadite. Oh, hope not. Jesus. Great YouTube channel, by the way. I don't know that channel. Let's read. Sorry, what? Who are they? Let's read. Yeah.
Before the video begins.
Scary bar stories. Oh, okay, so they're like a story time channel. Ah, okay. Okay, I got you. I should have gotten that from the name. You really sound like a Skinwalker or Jersey Devil. I know more about a Jersey Devil than I do a Skinwalker. Is that a bathrobe dressing gown? What? It's what? What? If you're asking if I'm wearing one, no. Wearing a dress shirt. No. Jeans. Dressing gown? What? Guilty pleas. Guilty pleasure? In terms of movies, I would call a guilty pleasure. Van Helsing. I know a lot of people think the movie's kind of garbage, but I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think Van Helsing is an amazing film. Has probably the best werewolves ever seen in film. I think that design-wise, I think they're the best werewolf designs ever. So yeah, for me, Van Helsing. The thing is, I guess you can't call it a guilty pleasure though, because I'm not guilty about it. I love the film to death. Just some people don't. I'm not sure. Most of the films I like, I'm not guilty about liking them. So. Better than American World War in London. What? Is Van Helsing better than? I don't know. Oh, better than American Werewolf in London. Ah, okay. Yes. Though American Werewolf in London did the horrific transformation better. Way better. Because you really feel in that film, like, the horrifying transformation. You feel it. They did amazing work in that film. But the design of the werewolf is not as good as Van Helsing's. Van Helsing had the bipedal, big, hulking werewolf. With the extended snout, it nailed it. It nailed the design of the werewolf perfectly. American Werewolf in London did the transformation aspect probably the best. Like the stretching, the pain, the bone crunching feel. It really got that down. But the design of the werewolf, no, like that goes to Van Helsing. I can't blame you for having a crush on any of those actresses. I can't blame any guy who is straight having a crush on any of those. I'm sorry, but if you're gay, I'd be like, can you not appreciate that? At least. Damn. Yeah, no, I can't blame you for that one. I get you. Doomguy or Space Marine? Space Marine. Love Doomguy, but Space Marine. So even then, it would depend. Not every Space Marine is better than Doomguy. I'd say some are better. Like Asmodai, yes. We talk Sigismund, absolutely. Sigismund outdoes Doomguy any day of the week. Sigismund would make Doomguy go, well, fuck. Certain Space Marines, absolutely. But if you mean Doomguy versus any Space Marine, no. But specific ones, yes. Doomslayer. Doomguy, Doomslayer, interchangeable. Waken Youth, both. Doomguy, Master Chief. Badassery goes to Doomguy. Character goes to Master Chief. Though I guess after this latest Silver Timeline show, Doomguy. This Doomguy hasn't been fucked yet. At least Doomguy hasn't fucked the demon yet. Which is the equivalent of what Master Chief did when he fucked the Covenant chick. Oh, God, that show is just hot garbage. I don't know. Have you heard about... what's up, Matthew Gordon? What's up, you sexy son of a bitch? How you doing? Have you heard about Black Templar? Yes, I heard about it. I also heard that afterwards the Custodes killed the Templars that killed the Primaris. I don't know if that's true. but I did hear that the Black Templars had a bit of a civil war, which, by the way, little late, but better late than never. Because my biggest problem when Primaris were introduced is they blanketed all but 3 or 4 chapters were totally cool with it, including the Black Templars. Fuck you! The Black Templars, under no circumstances, would have welcomed in the fucking Primaris. The Black Templars are extremely zealoted worshippers of the Emperor. If they would have seen the Primaris, which were made by Belisarius Cawl, they would have seen them as abominations, a mockery of the Emperor's work, and would have slaughtered them on the spot. The fact that there was a civil war already disappoints me, but I can accept that. Some Black Templars would prioritize having their numbers puffed up than worrying about that. Even then, though, a lot of them would rather have the Imperium go up in flames than them betray their creed of their religion to the Emperor. So no, I was upset that they just kind of branketed and allowed that to happen. But I'm glad that they've corrected it with that story of saying, okay, no, the Black Templars didn't just let them in. They actually had a major bone to pick, and there was a civil war and a little bit of a mini civil war, and the side that won, surely because of how many of the Templars were on it, was the side that thought of them as abominations and killed them all. That was correct for me. So I'm glad they fixed that, but it was, for a while there, I was really fucking pissed. Really fucking pissed with that. Hi Mark, welcome to the stream. Dark Angel, Space Wolf, Black Templar, top three chapters that would never have accepted Primaris. You are correct. You are correct. Dark Angel, Space Wolf, Black Templar. Yeah, those are the top 3. I'm trying to think. There's another one I think that would have at least a problem with it. The Phoenixes? I can't remember the full name of it, but there's a chapter. Oh, man. Trying to remember the name. Something with Phoenix in the name. I know they were pretty zealoted with the Emperor as well, so they would have had a problem with it as well. But yeah, those are the top 3. They would not have allowed Primaris in. It would have been a major controversy. At least, if not what happened, which I'm glad. I'm glad that GW finally realized, shit, yeah, that didn't make sense. Let's fix that. Took him a hot minute. Better late than never. Witcher series? Seen? Thoughts? They did Triss dirty. The Witcher series. I saw it. I liked season 1. They did do Triss dirty. I do agree with that. I don't like the casting of some characters. But the personality, I think, was... well, even then, that was... With some characters, it was kind of hit or miss with the personality. They got it right sometimes with the personality of the character, but other times I felt like they were kind of starting to deviate from it. But generally speaking, despite a lot of casting choices I wasn't happy with, I thought they did. I thought they nailed everything else about the show. You know, you could not have picked a better Witcher, a better Geralt of Rivia. Well, no. I think technically there's actually someone who just came to mind that would have been better technically, but after seeing his performance, I think Henry Cavill nailed Geralt of Rivia. I think he nailed the character, and I think he's continuing to, and I think he's really made the character his own. So, bravo to Henry Cavill, the man. And the best part is he's a geek too. You know, he's a fan of Warhammer. He's a geek too. He's a geek who looks like a fucking Adonis, which is amazing. So, and to see, and you know, even if he's not technically the best casting for Geralt, I think he does it so well, and the actor himself is such a great person. I really just, you know, it's one of those things where if he had been like a Brie Larson type, you know, it would have been like, oh, anyone has a problem with me being the character is clearly a sexist or clearly all this, then I would have had a problem with it. But the man literally came out in an interview and said, "Listen, no, fans aren't toxic. They're passionate. They're passionate, and sometimes that comes out in unhealthy ways. But this is stuff that they care about. This is stuff they spent many hours, investing in. So yeah, like fans have a right to complain." So hearing him say stuff like that, honestly, even if he did play the role a little poorly, which he didn't, by the way, he plays Geralt very, very well. So, but even if he did, just saying that is enough to earn goodwill from me to let him get away with a lot. Because we hear so few people in Hollywood have that sentiment. We see so little understanding for our fandoms and for our loves that it's nigh impossible to you don't see that anymore. So to see someone who have any level of empathy and sympathy for a fan base, it means everything. It literally means everything. So at this point, just for that, I let him get away with murder. Maybe not completely butchering the character, but I'd let him get away with maybe not nailing it every time. That's me. Jaskier was spotted. Yes, Jaskier was. He was called Dandelion in the book, if I recall correctly, and in the game. Don't quote me on the game, but I know in the book he was called Dandelion. So I kind of find funny. But the thing is, it was his actual name, I think. Excuse me. Afraid to ask this one dude, it's sounding like a broken record. Have you heard about it? I heard about that. Blah. Skull Maggot, welcome to the stream. How you doing, brother? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing snazzy. Not snaggy. Snazzy. Words. Hope you're doing fantastic, man. AK Edits, welcome to the stream. How you doing? Name a Marvel character for an edit. Name a Marvel character for an edit. Any kind of edit? Or, like, what do you mean by edit? Do you mean, like, any variation of it? Like, aesthetic edit? Like, are you, like, going to redraw them? Are you going to film edit? Like, you're going to re-edit a film? Or do you mean, like, one I think that could be better done? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by edit, so... Can you give me more specifics? Excuse me. Blood Angels wouldn't like... I think I could see the Blood Angels accepting it a little bit more, considering their dwindling numbers. Especially the Flesh Tears. Flesh Tears, though, no. They wouldn't, no. And also demonic horror or cosmic horror. Cosmic horror gives me a headache. It's supposed to, so I guess it's doing its job, but I just don't enjoy it as much. So demonic horror, out of the two, I just simply because I can wrap my brain around it. Don't get me wrong, some cosmic horror like Cthulhu stuff is like really cool and can be done extremely well, but just by quantity of how much I can deal with, I'll take demonic horror over cosmic horror. Most times. Mads Mikkelsen. Oh, for Geralt? Henry Cavill deserve the sipping he get. Rare case of sipping that is acceptable. I can agree with that sentiment, yeah. Excuse me. Like an edit, I make edits. Oh, okay. Like you take clips and put in audio and makes the... Okay, so you're just like asking for a prompt. Iron Man. So I'd be curious what you could do for that. Try that. Have at it, bro. Dandelion. Do you prefer the super robot genre or the real robot genre in anime? Super robot genre or real robot? I don't think I've ever heard of those. Can you describe it to me? So, what the difference is between the two? Super robot versus real robot. Do you mean like Gundam versus like mech? I guess I just need... Can you give me the distinction? I'm doing pretty good. It's finally starting to cool off. Too damn hot. I'm glad it's cooling off for you. It's fucking blazing here. It's the sun is down and it's 73 degrees, which for a winter wasteland like this place is most of the time. It's pretty hot. Okay. Blood Angel accepted Primaris after losing 90% of their rank in their successor chapter on Ball. At that point, they didn't really have a choice. Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying, though. Once you're backed up against the wall, you'll take whatever help you can get, even if it goes against your morality or your standards. So that's why for me it was believable that they'd take it. Bet got you, fam. Awesome. If Earth was invaded by any kind of Xenos from 40k, which do you think we'd have the best chance against? You don't ask easy questions, do you, my friend? Oh. I can't think... Is really... We don't have a chance against any of them in our current technological era. Because you got the Eldari, who... the first that come to mind in terms of handleable... But even that's due to their lack of numbers and the fact that they're probably the least brutal of the alien species. But even then, their technological superiority, the stratagems, their speed, and how their craft worlds work, I don't know. Like I think we'd be fucked even in that scenario. And that's the closest to having a chance we have. Rest of them, not a shot in hell. Like orcs, they literally would multiply, especially if it orc fungal spores got on the planet, you're doomed. It's a matter of hours at that point of how long you got, especially with our current technological ability. We'd be fucked. Necrons, not a chance in hell. They would deatomize all of the planet within a matter of hours. We'd be fucked. Jakari, I don't even think I could describe what they would do to us. They wouldn't kill many people. But boy, would we want them to. Oh boy, would we want them to. Please nuke us. We'll take that over whatever else you have planned. Please. Yeah, I can't... Tyranids would be fucking eaten within a day. I got nothing. None of the alien species we could go up against, we have a shot. Closest to a shot would be normal Eldar, and that's it. And even then, their technological superiority is just well and beyond anything we have. Gundam versus Ghost in the Shell. I guess real robot then. If you could have a cyberpunk enhancement on your body, what would it be? Avoid the lewd ideas. We all have them. For me, is it just one, or like can I describe any? I don't know. I'll just choose one. Simplify the answer. Probably ocular enhancements. As much as the downside would always be there of like fearing like someone could short out your eyes. For me, being able to see better and have like my ocular vision enhanced, I think would be huge. Like being able to zoom in far away, being able to do thermal imaging, scan someone and kind of like look up their social media profile and stuff like that. Like I don't know, something about that would be. Like, information is such a powerful tool and weapon. So to have your eyes turn into a constant upload of information for you. I don't know. I would take ocular enhancements in Vision Retina. Of course, we're just going for the cool factor. I'd get both my arms replaced, and I'd have my arms enhanced with augmentations. Allow me to lift up a fucking, a full dump truck and shit. Punch holes in walls through solid concrete, shit. That'd be like the cool factor. But if we're going for like more of an intellectual angle and philosophical one, and also cool factor, ocular implants. It's my Necrons. Ugh. Super robot genre is superhero mecha like Getter Robo Ons Manzinger, while real robot genre is military mecha like Gundam. Yeah, real robot then. I like that more. I don't like pure realism. I like fiction. I like fiction to be nutty and out there, but more like industrial looking mechs I think always look cooler to me for some reason than Gundams. Gundams feel so out there that they definitely like. I'm like, this is silly. It's fun silly, but it's silly. If you were in the Matrix and was on Neo's side, and an agent tells you, if you give up fighting us, we will take you back to the Matrix. You will not remember this. You will have it all. Fame, hot goddess wife, money, basically the whole world will love you. Would you accept? Yeah, probably. The key thing there would be I will not remember. I will not remember. Wait, hold on. Let me reread that. Yeah, based on your parameters, yeah, I would take that. If it's solely about me giving up fighting, but I don't sacrifice others to give up. If it's just me surrendering the fight, I'd do it. Like, I'd leave the fight to those who have more in them. For me, I'm a kind of guy that, based on my current existence, I've been through enough in my life that if someone offered me, even if it was blissful ignorance, if someone gave me a way to just be happy, and, like, even if I end up getting drained like a fucking battery, I'd fucking take it. Don't get me wrong, I'd want the other side to win. It's like, yeah, but I don't know if I'd have the fight in me. I might. I don't know. Maybe in that scenario I would have that determination, that fight, and that drive. But for me, I would definitely take the out. As long as it wasn't sacrificing others for my out. If it was just like the scenario in the first Matrix movie, though, and they're like, if you give us Morpheus, if you give us Neo, and you give us the whole crew of the Nebuchadnezzar, we'll put you in, make you forget everything, and have you have an amazing life. No, I wouldn't do it. Not in a million years. I wouldn't sacrifice others just for me to be able to get the out. That would not. For me, I draw the line at giving myself up. I would not sacrifice another to do it. So that's the defining line. So what would be the first thing you would create if you had orc magic? The thing is, orcs... with orcs, that psyker ability requires all of them to believe something. So, I don't know. It wouldn't even be a decision for me. It would be like, what could I convince all of the orcs to believe? If it's a question of what would I invent if I just had the power to make anything reality, that'd be different. But if we're going specifically with the orc angle, that requires the element of convincing the entire race of the orcs to believe something. I don't know. I'm thinking. Let's say you convinced them. Okay. That is such a hard question to answer. Like, if you had the power to make anything real, what would it be? That is such a deep question. Hot chicks to have low standards. There we go. Victory. I don't know. Like, I got nothing. I'll go with that. Hot chicks to have low standards. Orcs would be confused by that one, considering they have no interest in such thing. Would it be like, so women, females of the human species, have low standards of mating partners. All right, we do that. I believe that. I believe that too. What about you, little Gretch?
I believe that too. Don't stop me.
Well, crump the son of a bitch. Alright, lads, let's get crumping. Whoa!
You know? Hot chicks, low standards. Amen, brother. I don't know. That's all I got. Oh, God. Is the Nier Replicant playthrough canceled? Yes. As of now. Well, as of actually a while back. But officially, yeah. I don't have time to work on it. And plus it didn't do good on the channel anyway. So yeah. Let's see. Okay. Have you seen Time Lapse of the Future, A Journey to the End of Time video on YouTube? If not, I recommend it. It's an experience. I have not seen that. Maybe check it out. I don't know. Lala or Goblin? In what context? Like, just which do I think is nicer, cooler, interesting? In what context? Of this or that? To become one. To become one. Oh, okay. Goblin. Think I'll play it in my own time? Maybe? Not soon. I have a lot of other stuff I'm playing right now. And even then, I barely have time to play what I'm playing. Like, the FF animation has taken a lot of my free time. But, maybe. Yeah. I would like to play it through. Oh, I'm out of order. Do you like space? Scared of something in space or an amazing thing you heard about space? I like space. I think it's fascinating and cool. I definitely like it more than the ocean. I love the ocean too, but something about the ocean is far more terrifying. I don't know. I guess it's more of a primal fear, whereas space, I guess we just never had a concept of going to, so we never formulated a primal fear of it. But yeah, I think space is amazing and it'd be cool to travel in it. Assuming, you could do so without dying. Scared of something in space or an amazing thing you heard about space? I guess everyone's scared of a black hole, right? But outside of stuff like that, maybe a solar flare or getting hit by a meteor storm, stuff like that could happen. Outside of the basic stuff anyone would be afraid of, like hazards like that. Not really. I mean, I'd say the benefits of going out into space and learning how to traverse the stars definitely outweighs everything else. Ocean is more cosmic horror than space is. Can be. It can be. Both have a level of cosmic horror. Ocean creeps you out. Yeah, something about the ocean has a level of primal fear in all of us. I find it fascinating that old Celtic myths, pretty much every monster in their myths revolves around bodies of water. Something about the ocean is always just bred so much fear into people. And to be fair, there's a lot of reason why. Like, you got sharks, you got whales, you got big-ass giant squids, and lots of other stuff in the ocean that we know are dangerous and will eat you. And we have, also, in the water, we're at a massive disadvantage. Because at least on the land, when we come across a cheetah or a panther, we have the ability to run away. We have the ability to try and fight back against it. We have our full natural strengths and abilities to defend ourselves. Whereas in the case of fighting back against something in the ocean or the water, we are not in our we are literally not in our element. You do not have full advantage of your body's strength in the ocean because your body's not built to fight in the water. So you are just at a massive disadvantage. You are a sitting duck. You are vulnerable. It is pure vulnerability in the water. We have nothing. So because of that, the level of primal fear that are built into every human being when it comes to the water is immense, and for good reason. Will AI take us over? No idea. Possibly, but no idea. Yeah, they believe large bodies of water were portals to the other world. To the other world! To the where the fae folk live! Yeah. You can kind of see it too. Like, water is a very fascinating thing. It's reflective, like mirrors are, and oftentimes, like, people consider mirrors reflections of the soul. So, yeah. I don't know, there's a lot of mystic hoo-ha that you can kind of get to a degree, and that's one of them. That's like one element of it you can totally understand. There are many years humans could not swim. True. I mean, we're primates. We're not designed to swim. We kind of learned how to swim despite our biology. Would I scarify my beard hair or head? What does that mean? Do you know cows are not made by nature, but by mankind for livestock? Cows? I know chickens kind of are, but cows? And it makes sense. I mean, dogs exist because of human beings. Human beings have had one hell of an influence on nature. Kind of fascinating. Do you wish you were a bigger channel, or are you comfortable with the freedom of being small? That's kind of a hard one because it's kind of both. I'm happy with being smaller because, it's easier to have conversations like this because I can keep up with the chat. And there's enough of you in that it's very engaging, but at the same time, there's not so many that I have to like cherry pick like single ones out of the chat. And plus, on the Discords, I when I get into a conversation with you guys, I know everybody in the chat. I don't feel like I have to remember anybody's names because I do, like, you all are right there. And I get to know everybody quite personally. So, for that, it's I like having a smaller community because it feels like a community. It feels more tight-knit. But at the same time, I do want a bigger audience because having a bigger audience means more people viewing the videos, more people subscribing, more people donating possibly on streams, which means I could possibly do this kind of stuff full time. So it's one of those things where it's both. Like, a part of me really would like a bigger audience so I could sustain this as a career, so I could do a job that I enjoy. But with that same thing, it's like that would be at the expense of having such a tight-knit community. So it's hard to say which out of the two I prefer. It's not easy to answer. Both is the best way I know how to answer that question. Hey, Lightning Lunatic, how you doing? Cheer. Where everybody knows your name. Cheers. That was a good show. I think it holds up. Oh, would I sacrifice my beard hair or head hair? Head hair. Having a bigger channel can make you feel uncomfortable. I had some creepy fans that made me feel creeped out. Wait, how big of a channel did you have? I now have questions. Having a bigger channel can make you feel uncomfortable. I had some creepy fans that made me feel creeped out. Well, I kind of I've already had that though. When I was at 1K subs, I had a couple creepy fans. I had a couple. They were quite terrifying. All of them are banned now, but yeah. Thing is, I don't think getting bigger invites that anymore. Like I think if you have an audience of 200 subs, you have a likelihood of someone in there being creepy. Granted, you are right. Like no matter what, it's a numbers game, right? Like if the bigger you are, the higher the likelihood that you're gonna have someone in your audience like that. That's why ban buttons work, right? Like if someone's getting creepy, if someone's getting stalkerish, or if they're acting out of line, you block them. But I've already encountered that as a low sub YouTuber. So at the very least, as a high sub YouTuber, I get paid for the stalking. So I don't know. Maybe I'm under the philosophy of I could put up with it for money. A bit. Well, what's the wording for that? The word escaped me. There's a better word for that. Excuse me. You're gonna just keep stealing whatever cold air I have left? I would like to. It's very hot here. It's always struck me how PewDiePie said he'd be happy with only 100 subs when he reached 50 million. Yeah, but I don't want to throw any shade Pewd's way. Pewd's put in the legwork, put in the elbow grease. That man uploads very regularly and has uploaded over the years. That man has earned the subs he's got, and he's done the marketing. He's known how to turn up his own personality. He's not ever fake about who he is. He just kind of turns up the goofiness. I don't know, like when it comes to Pewds, there's nothing I have but respect for the man. But at the same time, he's saying that from the perspective of someone who has over 50 million. He says that as somebody who has those numbers. It's kind of the old argument of rich versus poor. And there was a rich guy who actually got asked about that, and he's like, some days, I wish I was poor, because back then, people wouldn't ask you for money all the time, and people, when they spend time with you and hang out with you, it felt genuine. It didn't feel like anyone wanted anything from you. And the same guy said, but I've been both poor and I've been rich, and I'm sad. I've been depressed rich and I've been depressed poor. And out of the two, I know which I'd rather be. Rather be sad and rich than sad and poor. So it's that kind of ideal, and I think when Pewd says that, I do think he means it. Like, he's not lying in any shape, form. But I don't think thing is, I don't think the thing he's factoring in is the lack of like money. Like, I know it's incredibly, I don't know. I know a lot of people like to get wishy-washy about it a lot and say like, oh, well, money won't make you happy. That's true. That's 100% true. Lots of money doesn't magically make people happy and doesn't magically make your life infinitely better. But, well, it does actually make your life a little much better, because with money you can afford to, you know, like in my case, I would like to afford a house. I would like to buy one, and move out of my folks' house, let them enjoy having an empty house of their adult children. Like I would like to give my parents that rest of mind. I would also like my own independence. I would like with it. I would also like the freedom to. I would like the freedom to be able to invest in other things like Warglaive Gothic, like, and get that off the ground and get books written and pay and hire on people to bring my dream to life. Like, money doesn't make people happy in and of itself, but it can lead. It does make it easier for you to lead towards the path of happiness, I would argue. And when anyone, I think when people with wealth say something along those lines like Pewds, and I know Pewds isn't talking about money, he's talking about like community, but with YouTube or with content creation as a whole, they're kind of one and the same. Like, having very few viewers basically means you make no money on the platform. Having lots of viewers means you make money on the platform, but you don't have much community. So it's pretty much the same argument, same conversation. And I think the reason people with more wealth of subscribers or wealth of money or both, the reason they say stuff like that is because they've run out of things to invest their money into. They've run out of things that their money could go towards to excuse me, make them happier. And so they're kind of stuck in this limbo of, okay, I've done it. You know, I've done the things that I thought would make me happy, but now that I've done them, I want to do more, but I've run out of things that to really invest in like that. So that's kind of like the wall he's hit. And I think that happens to a lot of people. But again, it's one of those things. Would you rather be poor and miserable or happy and miserable? And rich and miserable. I know which I'd rather pick. So it's a conversation to be had, but I think I definitely know that that's kind of the sentiment that ends up happening. Hey, Reverend 1207. Hey, Caleb. How you doing? How's the father of the year? How's your baby? How's Ezra? And also how's Tabby? Oh, brother, I know I told you guys I would be going down last Wednesday. That got canceled. So I am coming, assuming nothing comes up. I am coming up your way this upcoming Wednesday. So if you guys want to try and plan for any kind of get together, let me know. As for how's life, stressful, but yeah. Have you ever wondered why pizza comes in a square box but is in a circle then cut into triangles? No, I have not ever wondered that. And even after asking that, I still don't wonder. Just a series of coincidences. But hey, geometry. Everyone's good. It's been an interesting few weeks. I'm sure it has. I don't know. I feel incredibly old. I feel like I'm aging incredibly fast. It doesn't help that all my friends are married and or parents. Like all of them. Like all my friends are married with kids. It's great. Sometimes it feels like I'm not 22. I'm 44. It's like, Jesus, everybody's so ahead. Oh, these squares make a circle. Oh, these squares make a circle. Call me. I need you to tell me that I can leave the lookout if I want to. Mr. Popo, you can leave the lookout if you... Bitch, don't tell me what to do! All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle. Oh, God. Damn. I got stuffy nose. Can't wait for this cold to go away. Jesus. Yeah. 22 and me 24, I feel you. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it's because everyone else around me is growing up too fast or if I'm growing up too slow. I don't know. Maybe it's both. Felt the same way too. Now I'm that guy. Hey, you've caught up. I'm still behind. I don't even have a girlfriend right now. I am single. And mingling. The reason I'm dressed like this is I got home from a date. It was a short date, but home from a date. Got another one scheduled for Friday. Wait till I hit my 30s. If I feel old now, I feel ancient then. How it go? Not happening. Not happening. Well, she wasn't like a bad person, but it was like, you ever met a girl who's just all words, no sustenance, like no substance. Like she talked like talked, and listen, I don't go on a date expecting you to shut the fuck up like it's a date. It's a conversation, but it wasn't a conversation as much as it was me here, she talked. Me no talk, she talk. Like. She asked me like 3 questions and then immediately started talking right after asking the fucking question. So I don't think I answered a single question the entire night. So it wasn't great. Yeah. So I walked away pretty confident I'm not calling her back. No. See, she seemed like a nice lady, but. All words. I don't know if I was the first human being she had the opportunity to speak with all year, but I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't a great night. It wasn't terrible, but I don't know. Yeah. Yep, all downhill after 30. I mean, it's kind of all downhill, period, at this point. I don't think there's much uphill if you're 20. Except maybe physically. But it is all downhill after... all of it's downhill at 30. But it's everything but physically downhill at your 20s. The moment you hit your 30s, if you're not in your physical peak, you're never going to be. Walter Waffen. I work with someone who cannot stop talking. She admits she cannot work without the noise. Yeah, there's some people out there that are just afraid of silence. They're just dead afraid of silence. And I don't know why. There's actually a comedian who made a really fucked up but funny joke about it. Look up Chris Porter. He's a very funny comedian. He made a joke about such things. But as you need a listener. It's true. But if all they ever do is listen, then there's nothing. Like, then you should just get a doll, right? Like, if you're not expecting some back and forth, it's not a conversation. It's good to listen, but at some point, you gotta listen yourself. Otherwise, it's just being selfish. Pop music. I don't mind some pop music. It's some I don't like, some I do. I can kind of take it or leave it. So, what games are you playing in your free time? In the minuscule little free time I have currently, I jump into V Rising a couple times. That's kind of it. Again, I don't really have a lot of free time. I work 9 hours, 5 days a week, and I get Wednesdays and Sundays off. And when I'm at home from work, I'm either asleep or working on the FF animation. And on my days off, to be honest, I didn't really do any work on I did some texturing work this morning, but I took today fairly off from working on everything. Kind of needed to unwind kind of day. Plus, with the date today, I didn't feel like I wanted to do much work. But generally speaking, most of my days I get home from work and I work more on the project. So, yeah. You just turned 32 2 days ago? Well, happy belated birthday. You feel 40. Well, wait till you're actually 40. And you probably feel 80. Lightning Lunatic Man, thank you for the $20, bro. Thank you. Petty question, adult beverage of choice. Guinness. Or whiskey. One of the two. Those are my go-tos. Guinness or whiskey. It's great stuff. Can you give us a funny story? Yes? I got a few. Most of them involve other people. I've been thinking about maybe trying Warhammer, not so much the tabletop stuff, but books and things of that nature. Anything you recommend for starting with that? Yes. I got a list. For books, start with the Horus Heresy series. You're not going to read the whole series this century, but Horus Rising, pretty damn good. Horus Rising is the start of the Horus Heresy books. Definitely start with that. For like side novels, Devastation of Baal I enjoyed, but I don't know if that's universal for anybody. I can't recommend it because I haven't read it yet, but the new Krieg book goes into one of the most popular factions in the lore. And yeah, generally speaking though, Horus Heresy novels are like the bread and butter of like 40k lore. So definitely check those out. Yeah, Gaunt's Ghost. Gaunt's Ghost is pretty damn good. That's a very good recommendation. Yeah. There's lots of novels. Like, if you got audio, if you prefer an audiobook, there's lots of them on Audible. I'm not being sponsored by them, but that's where I got most of my 40k audiobooks. But just so you understand what you're getting into, Horus Rising, the very first book in the Horus Heresy series, which the first one was written by Dan Abnett. The book is this thick. The reference, that's my hand. That's the book. It's a little thick. It's not a little. It's thicker than the Bible. And it's not small text. It's not big text. It's small text. The book is over... Not included. The book is 434 pages, not including, the about the author and other stuff. Shoo. Yeah, it's a bit of a thick read. It's a good read. Took me forever to read through this book, but it's a good read. So I recommend it. But yeah, Horus Rising is the first book in the series. Very good book. Most people think Flight of the Eisenstein is the best. I don't know if I disagree. I do like Flight of the Eisenstein, but there's lots of books, and they're really good. They're really good, most of them. Certainly the older ones. Newer books, hit and miss. Sorry. Chest. Can you give us? So yeah, can I give you guys a funny story? Yes. I've got to pick one. I got one. So me and a buddy of mine went out into the woods to go camping. It was just me and him. It was just by ourselves. And I went to go get firewood, right? And he said he had the best method to make a fire quickly. So I knew shenanigans were going to happen. My guess while I walked away to pick up, wood was he's going to use lighter fluid, a lighter. He was just going to pop a lighter and use the fluid to start a fire. Standard method to do that. I come back and the man he has a can of WD-40 and bug spray duct taped together so he can press both the trigger and the spray at the same time with one hand. He's got a lighter in the other hand. A lighter, not a match, so he's got some length. A lighter, and I see him doing this. Come on. And a part of me wanted to run over and knock it out of his hand and be like, dude, you're going to light yourself on fire. But another part of me was like, let's see where this goes. So I just see him going, come on. And finally he gets the lighter to go, thing. He's like, and he lights it. It's a fucking flame. It's like literally a gust of flame. And it's hitting the the thing. And he's not hitting his hand, but what he doesn't realize is the gust is so big that it hits like the gist of his sweatshirt. So he stops, and the fire in our little like our dugout fireplace is lit, and he's like, and then his sleeve is on fire, and I'm in the background laughing my ass off, like I am like and he's like, but I run over to make sure he doesn't hurt himself. We tear off. He couldn't like get it out, so we tore off his sweatshirt and we just threw it in the fire. We made sure nothing was in the pockets. Like, we quickly tried to make everything was out, and we threw it in. And I let him borrow my sweatshirt. But that was hilarious. I don't know if you guys found that funny, but that was hilarious. Again, I thought he was just gonna drop lighter fluid on it or something, or gasoline even. I don't know. I don't know. He brought a large like duffel, so I didn't know what was in it. But nah, he just brought a can of WD-40 and bug spray. That was great. He's an idiot, but all of them. We're thinking about maybe. Okay, I read that. Thanks, Ben. Get back to that. Mostly Star Wars, but recently lots of fantasy as well. Right now, I'm reading Dune. I have not read Dune myself, so I ought to check that out. Since 40K stole a lot of its base elements from it, so might as well at this point. Glorious hardcover. Yes. I would not get a soft cover of Horse Rising. Nah. I respect this book too much to get a soft cover. Nah, baby. Hardcover all the way. Horse Heresy books to give a hard pass. None that I could think of off the top of my head. All of them have something good. Some of them have plenty of bad elements, but still something in them worth reading through for. For the Siege of Terra series, on principle, I would not read Saturn 9. Because that's the book that introduces Erda to the canon. And fuck that. So, yeah, but for the Horus Heresy series, got nothing off the top of my head. But I've not read every book in the Horus Heresy series yet. I've read 20 of the books. Yeah, 20. And there's like 50, 60 books in the series. And they're still writing it. I'm not joking. It's a very long series. Lots of great stories, lots of great character. Love a lot of it, but it's a long series. So if you start reading it, you will not finish reading it soon. Gotta head out, but it's been fun chatting for a minute. Let us know when you'll be around. I will. I'll let you guys. I'll text you guys. I'll text you guys Tuesday. Because by Tuesday, it should be locked in to go up Wednesday. So we should try and figure out something for that. But it was good hearing from you, man. And happy fatherhood to you. Is humanity going forward, or are we now backtracking? Looking at all the stuff people do or think these days, like thinking Earth is flat and stuff like that, it's both. I will say it's both. Technologically, we are advancing far beyond our means. Like, think about it. Like, every decade, we make massive leaps forward technologically. Like, think in the 1960s, Star Trek, a sci-fi series, showed flip-open communicators as a fictional device. Like, just a flip-open bling, communicator. That was a fictional concept. Not long-range communication. At that point, we had radio, we had other things like that. But to have in your pocket a flip-open, long-range communication device was unheard of. It was fantasy. Decades later, we had flip phones. Just a few decades after that, we had flip phones. Just ding, 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 ding. Hello. Well, by then we had series that in Star Trek as well. We had later on we had TNG and things like that depict touch devices, touch screens for like touchscreen buttons and stuff. Well, that was sci-fi. That was mythological. Computers and computerized devices where we just touch the screen and it inputs the information. No. We'll always have keyboards and devices. Fast forward a couple decades. We have tablets. We have smartphones. If we just look at the evolution of phones and communication devices, we've gone beyond our means. Well, what a generation that is still alive, by the way, what a generation that lived through thought was mythological science fiction is in our hands today. So technologically, we are advancing exponentially. We have voice-operated systems. You could go on. When we look at the technological aspects of our society, we are evolving. We are evolving beyond our expectations, oftentimes. And what this generation considers sci-fi, our grandkids may consider common technology. They may even consider it toys. Just think about that. My phone right here, has more computation ability and more features and more memory than the same computer that got the very first rocket into space and got the first men on the moon. So yes, we are progressing technologically. Societally, that's the loaded question. As a culture, that is a complicated question, but I would say no. I would say we are regressing culturally. Not a complete 180. I don't think we've completely undone ourselves. I don't think we're ever going to. Once you progress beyond a certain point, you'll never lose your anchor to that. Completely, anyway. But in certain regards, we are regressing. Where in the 90s and early 2000s, where I would argue representation in entertainment and when it comes to racial relations in the United States, were still tense, but they were at a more human level. Like, there was a recognized, I don't know how deep I want to go into this, but there was a recognized difference of upbringing from people who lived in the suburbs of a city and those who lived in the countryside or those who lived in more posh neighborhoods and condos and stuff like that, wealth differences. But in the 90s and early 2000s, it was portrayed more humanly. Like someone who was rich, wealthy, and affluent. Yeah, some movies was described as just being like a stereotypical bully, but was also depicted with a level of humanity. Like they were someone who was a person. There was mutual respect. between races, between classes. There was a level of understanding that everyone is human, and yes, our circumstances are often, yes, our circumstances are different, and some may have it better objectively in certain regards, but at the end of the day, we're all human. And at the end of the day, we're all capable of great good and great bad. Like, you can be poor and be a great, amazing person. You can be rich and you can be a terrible person. But at the same time, vice versa. You can be a rich, affluent, and incredibly generous person that is very generous with your wealth. And you start businesses. You like to build up your local neighborhood. You like to give money towards charitable donations. And you could be poor and be a bad person, rob and steal things from other people who are just as down and out as yourself, and threaten people and do drugs. And you can be both good and bad no matter your circumstances. All of that was in media portrayed quite honestly in the 90s and early 2000s, and even a little bit in the 80s. And they were also portrayed more, I guess, for lack of a better word, more funnily. Like they were portrayed in a sense where you could kind of laugh off the differences and really feel like everybody's human. You see that in media. But if we continue to use media as the example, that has gone away. In our current society, everything is getting more and more politicized. And unfortunately, part of politics is weaponizing social structures. And in our society, and again, I'm using this from an American perspective, I can't speak to the rest of the world, but in America, and this is at all politics, by the way, this is not like, oh, this party does this or this party does this. I do think in America there is one party doing this way more, but neither major party in the United States is completely innocent of this in any regard. But there are forces in the United States of a political nature that are utilizing the differences of people instead of highlighting the differences, but also highlighting that can make us stronger, that can unify us and trying to bring us together despite those differences. They are highlighting the differences and weaponizing them, and they're turning them into excuses for people to be awful to one another. And they are definitively drawing a line with, okay, this side of the line is human, and our side and good, and this line is inhuman, bad, and is the enemy. And both sides are projecting this sense of the other, and it's tribalism, and it's becoming more and more ever present. And social media, another technological evolution from things like in the 90s and 80s and 70s, something like Facebook or Twitter or things like that were not conceptualized. But now that they exist, now you can talk to someone who lives in Mongolia from the backyard of somewhere in Kentucky on your phone over Facebook, Twitter, etc. You can communicate with people around the world, and though conceptually that should make life better, because now that we have easy access to open communication with everyone across the world, when it comes to differences of opinion, when it comes to breaks of communication, when it comes to when it comes to conflicts of interest, we now have an open way to have a dialogue between the peoples. We once had to communicate via radio. We once had to communicate via Morse code. We had to send letters. We had to send envoys. Now we can send, with a push of a button, we can send a translated message to them, conveying our perspective. And conceptually, that should result in less conflict. But unfortunately, the powers that be have used it instead as the opposite. It is a tool to spread and seed division. It is a tool to spread and seed conflict. And that is most prevalently seen on things like Twitter, which are managed by such people. It is controlled by people who want to formulate a narrative of division, and I'm sure they don't think of it as that. That's the thing. The sad thing is, there's no evil, mustache twirling villain in this. Well, there is, but they're not who I'm talking about. When we look at people who control and own and moderate Twitter, for example, they're not I don't think so anyway. They're not mustache twirling villains. These are human beings, and they think they're doing the right thing. they think they're doing a service when they silence opinions, when they silence perspectives that do not align with their own. Because the narrative nowadays is not that the differences of perspective can be presented. The differences of perspective and ideas can be presented, and we can add together as a culture, formulate the middle ground, formulate the best of both worlds. Like, this party wants this party wants this. Why don't we present them with this that kind of satiates both thirsts? Instead of that, it's, again, the conflicting version, where this person has a differing perspective, therefore they are against me, against my interests, and they are a threat to me, and they are an enemy. And therefore must be silenced, must be dejected, must be kept away, and must be suppressed until they submit to my will. It's domination versus collaboration. Conquer versus communication. And that is why I think societally we are regressing. We are regressing to tribalism. We are regressing to an undiplomatic, undemocratic society. And our country will burn because of it. Despite, and in fact because of, some of our own technological advancements. We evolved technology infinitely beyond ourselves. And there is someone out there, and I can't remember his name unfortunately, but he said it best. We live in a space-age time with Bronze-Age minds. We live in a space-age time with Bronze-Age minds. And that is the current biggest problem with our, well, again, America, speaking of America, because that's where I live, that is the biggest problem. I know I got really deep there, but it's an Ask Me Anything. I answered honestly. Seeing that in my personal custom fantasy setting might actually convince me to invest in a 3D printer. Hey, I recommend it. Just gonna datapad West Arbor Systems. Yeah. Just watch the comedian you mentioned. Mutual respect. More. I just one clip, or did you watch a full special? I haven't been chatting that long, have I? Oh shit, I might have. Ensler and polarized. Yeah. When we are confronted with complete boundlessness, we make out our walls. Yeah. It's the times we live in. We are definitely regressing at the same time we're progressing. We're regressing societally. We're progressing technologically. And I think that's actually going to make... it's kind of like 2 points connected by a rubber band. And at some point, we're going to pull so much that the tension's going to snap. When ideally, we should be neck and neck with that rubber band. From the 2 points. A clip. Okay. Yeah. He's very funny. I do unfortunately have to end the AMA. I'm actually very happy we had a lot of back and forth today. It was a lot of good conversations. Yeah. I gotta call it a night. I got work in the morning. And again, I had a great talk with y'all. Daryl Davis. Yes, thank you. When Space Age time was Stone Age minds. I thought it was Bronze Age. Regardless, same sentiment. Yeah. Saga, have a great night. Yes. Thank you guys. Have a great time. I hope you all have a wonderful night or day, depending on where it is for you. Yeah. I'm gonna try and stream. I'm gonna try and stream the FF14 Alliance raid for Endwalker, if I can. I need to find enough time to do it though. I don't know how long the raid's gonna take. I'm assuming 3 to 4 hours, but I'm not sure. But I do wanna catch up with everybody else on that before the next patch comes out. So, yep. Have a great night, guys, and I'll catch you guys another day. Bye bye.